Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, entitled Mother got mad at the zoo because my boyfriend refused to fake kidnapping her kid. Narcissistic, soon-to-be, FIL breaks my adult toy. Mom gets mad we don't want to stay in the living room with her. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Mother got mad at the zoo because my boyfriend refused to fake kidnapping her kid. Yes, it is as wild as the title sounds. Me and my boyfriend were at the zoo enjoying our day as we have some very rare sunshine in England. It was packed with screaming kids and we were standing at the lion cage and there was a kid screaming because no one could see the lions and the kids. I'm guessing mother turned around and said to the child, "If you don't stop crying, that scary bad man next to you is going to kidnap you and take you away and you will never see anyone you love again, like WTF." I overheard this and started laughing because I was so confused. My boyfriend just ignored it and then the woman tapped him and said, "Go on, tell her that you will take her away if she doesn't stop crying." When my boyfriend said no, she got mad at us. Said we are a selfish couple and it's clear that we don't have kids of our own or else we would know what it's like and help her. She then proceeded to call us more names before grabbing the kid and storming off. What is wrong with some people, honestly? As if we would pretend to kidnap a child. While working retail, I had a mother tell her child that if they didn't behave I was going to call the police and have the kid taken away. I told the kid I would do no such thing and she got pissed at me. Some people shouldn't be parents. Years ago, I was sitting in a park when I saw a woman drive up to a police station, yank her, maybe 7 years old, kid out of the car, drag him by the arm up to the front door, then yell at him that if he doesn't start behaving she will leave him there because that's where naughty boys belong. One of the worst displays of parenting I have ever witnessed. The kid was bawling his eyes out the whole time, so clearly not in any state to take in the lesson. All she is really teaching him is to mistrust authority figures. When I volunteered as a police officer, I heard parents saying the police will take you away if you don't behave / stop being naughty / stop crying, etc. I did actually have to say a few times, "Don't ever tell them that," as if they ever got lost, but saw the police then they would be too scared to approach. Which is exactly what happened to me. My mom made me sit on the front porch with a bag packed for the cops to come pick me up and take me to jail or back to foster care. She didn't call them obvi. But she had me sit in the cold for a really long time. I got lost in a strange neighborhood, turns out I needed glasses, and a cop had to try to find my parents and I was hysterical because I thought I was going to jail or back to foster care and would never see my parents again. The cop kept trying to reassure me, but I just remember feeling terrified. I have had mothers tell their kids that if they are bad I will give them a shot, as if giving shots isn't hard enough without moms scaring them to death. I immediately tell the kids that will not happen. I'm 6 feet 5 inches with long hair and I drive a motorcycle daily, so I wear a leather jacket and I was carrying my helmet. I was in line at the grocery store, having popped in for a few items in my way home. A bitchy looking woman was in line in front of me with 2 small children. The kids wanted some candy from those last-minute impulse buy shelves they force you to walk by. The mom was being quite rough with them and telling them no. Finally she grabbed each one by the shoulder and spun them around to face me, saying that if they didn't start behaving that instant that the scary-looking biker was going to take them away forever. Both kids stared up at me in abject terror. I replied that the idea sounded like fun and we could all go for a ride on my motorcycle. Then I pantomimed twisting the throttle and made a rum-rum sound effect. Both kids' faces went from horror to excitement in an instant. Mom's face went in the opposite direction. She pulled her kids protectively close to her and said there was no way her kids were going with me. I just smirked. She finished checking out and as she turned to leave she shot me one last dirty look. I suggested she try parenting her child in some manner other than idle threats involving strangers. As they walked away, I heard both kids ask when they were gonna get a motorcycle ride. Narcissistic, soon-to-be, FIL breaks my adult toy. Backstory: I moved in with my now fiance back in January 2022. His stepmom owns the house and his dad owns nothing. His stepmom wanted us to watch the house for them while she did her travel nursing, so someone would be around to keep the cats fed. And of course the dad went with her. We were not staying there for free, they still charged us rent and we had to pay all the utilities. But between the two of us it wasn't an issue. It was a really nice experience being able to finally live with the man I loved. And everything was going perfect for the first 3 months. Then we got the notice that they were coming back because the contract was over and they would be visiting for a couple weeks before his stepmom got another contract. So I went into super cleaning mode because I didn't want it to look like we lived there, right? LOL, I cleaned every room except mine because I wasn't expecting them to go anywhere near it or in it without asking. Just as I never went into their room because that's their stuff. I have a lot of NSFW stuff laying around in my room because it's my private space. That is going to be important later. So the day comes and they arrive. It's all pleasant greetings and ordering pizza because nobody wants to cook. And somehow a conversation comes up where his dad asked me if I cooked any recipes from his binder of recipes. I told him I didn't because I usually just cook things I know and didn't think to look for a book to get a new recipe. He then decided to go on a hunt to find his binder and looked everywhere in the house and started getting frantic. Tossing the couches apart, lifting tables and things going everywhere. My fiancé was in our room looking for it, so I figured that was good enough and his dad wouldn't try looking in there himself. Our room is downstairs in a basement with 3 other rooms, and I didn't think much of it when his dad came upstairs and asked me where some scissors were and I handed him a pair. About 30 minutes later after food arrived, he looked above the fridge in the super high cabinet and finally found his recipes, where he left them. We ate food and watched a movie, and then after saying goodnight we went to our room. As I was about to lay down I noticed one of my toys was in a weird spot. Then I got a better look, and the charging cord was cut up into 4 separate pieces, with the USB still plugged into the wall and the other part still inside the toy. My heart sank. And I showed my fiancé what happened. He at first thought maybe the cats got to it, but they were clean cuts. And the loose parts were in a pile and not scattered. I no longer felt safe in that house. My fiancé didn't want to have to confront his dad because he is extremely hard-headed and it would probably lead to them fighting and then us getting kicked out. So he begged me to be strong and to not bring it up. I cried so hard that night. Not only did I want to confront him, but I wanted him to pay me for the toy because it was super expensive. I felt so violated. I avoided his dad like the plague for the whole time he was there, until the stepmom took me aside to ask if I was okay because she knew I was avoiding her husband and wanted to know what happened. So I told her what he did and she looked mortified and said she would talk to him. The next day his dad went out early in the morning to go work out for about an hour but didn't come home till late in the afternoon. Me and the stepmom were just having a nice talk in the living room when he came back and was holding his hand like a kid trying to pretend they are injured and wanted attention. He went straight to the freezer, got an ice pack that made a scene of going to the bathroom. His wife called out asking what was up. And he said nothing like an immature kid. She asked me if I saw what he grabbed and I told her he grabbed an ice pack. She called out to him again saying what happened? Did you hurt yourself? And again like an immature kid said you don't want to know. And closed the bathroom door. He eventually came out and came straight to my face very aggressively and said, "Well, if I wasn't so upset about being accused of cutting your cord, this wouldn't have happened to my hand." He came up with a BS story about how he was shopping at a gas station and some guy was being abusive to his girlfriend and he told the guy to stop, and the guy swung at him and so he beat the guy up and now he has a busted hand. He then proceeded to tell me that it was my fiancé that cut my cord and he needed to be questioned instead. I was at a loss of words. Because of how stupid he was and that his wife believed him. I was going to tell him to fuck off with that BS, but I had to go to work. So on my way to work I texted my fiancé everything that his dad said. He later told me he expected something like that to happen. Because every time his dad gets caught in a lie, he has to make up a stupid story of him being a victim or some kind of hero to make people empathize with him. For example, he cheated on his wife and got caught. So he went out for a while and supposedly a couple of guys tried to jump him and he killed them both seriously, like WTF? And his wife believed it. I don't even know what to say to that. When my fiancé was younger, he caught his dad in a lie. And his dad accidentally poured beer on his Xbox he bought with his own money. He has the mentality of if I'm wrong then everyone else is. Anyway, back to the story. So my fiancé was going to talk with him privately and tell his dad he owed me money for the toy and to apologize to me. Unfortunately, his dad canceled their hangout and ended up leaving the next day with nothing being resolved. Another few months go by and another in-between visit. I completely ignore his dad. Not even give him a glance or recognition that he is there. He pulls my fiancé aside one night and tells him he forgives him and has put the whole thing behind him. I laughed so hard. He is such a narcissist. That he believes his own lies. Funny thing is, the toy isn't just for me. My fiancé uses them too. So he has no reason to maliciously destroy something he likes. This visit was a lot longer and everyone was so annoying, they wouldn't say anything to my face. They would tell my fiancé things to telephone to me. The last thing was the stepmom saying I needed to be nice to her husband, because he's in a good mood when they are out traveling, but when they come back, and I'm ignoring him, it puts him in a bad mood and he snaps. Oh geez, I wonder why. Maybe I'm just a reminder that he's an asshole that got caught? She said if I didn't act nice, they would kick us out. Oh, please just do it. Find someone else willing to pay you rent, and all the utilities and feed your dumbass cats that puke everywhere and can't stop eating plastic and find wrappers in the litter box. OMG. I don't miss it. So I complied. And just stayed in my room the whole time. Only left to go to work. Christmas came and it was the performance of a lifetime. I felt sick to my stomach pretending to tolerate him. We didn't get him any presents except a gift card. I got the stepmom a lot of pamper presents and an auto feeder for the cats because they are hoouge. They got us a bunch of hand-me-downs of extra cooking supplies and household items they no longer needed since they are now no longer doing the travel nursing. And now I'm so happy to be moved out as of January 3rd this year and we are on our own and don't have to see them every day. We're going to have a family talk soon because if his dad doesn't own up to the shit he has done, we are going 100% no contact. I'd have accidentally spilled a full bottle of red wine over his beloved cooking manual, leaving it to soak overnight to really ruin the pages. LOL, I've thought about it, it's all handwritten too. They are all recipes passed down from his grandmother. Beating the crap out of someone causes damage to the hands like cuts, scrapes, bruises, and swelling. If his hands looked normal, I'd have called BS right then and there. I'd tell stepmom that I'm not humoring him to keep the peace. Mom gets mad we don't want to stay in the living room with her. Some backstory: 3 years ago my dad died from a heart attack that he was told would happen if he didn't stop smoking but ignored it, and since then my mom will not let me and my brother go. So in the evening when my brother and I, are in our room and not in the living room with my mom, she gets extremely mad. It starts small like, are you guys not going to stay in the living room? But then it turns into her screaming and threatening to take away our phones if we don't stay with her. This is normally toward my brother because I mostly spend most of my time on my room, but if my brother refuses to go with her, she'll start saying, Opie, are you not going to come and show a good example to your brother? It's honestly irritating, also because if I want to sleep in my room, only when I tell her, she'll scream at me to stay in the living room. I once decided to sleep in my room and not stay in the living room, and she came up to me and slapped my leg screaming at me to sleep where she could see me. She says she's just scared of being left alone in the house and all this will change when we get a new house, but I don't think it will change anytime soon. Maybe you could suggest some grief counseling for her. We already did some, she didn't want to continue it. Your mom needs professional help. I'm so sorry to hear your mom is taking her grief out on you and your brother. She's desperately trying to take control of what she can. It's understandable, but wrong doing it to you and your brother like this. Is there someone at your school you could talk to about this? Or a close relative or friend's mom? You need another adult to step in and help you and your brother. Mom needs help to deal with her grief and fear. I am so sorry for your family's loss. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.